and welcome, Nicolaas van Wyk.
Thank you very much for this opportunity and the ability to speak with the CFOs. So it's really an honor to speak with the CFO community on this important topic. SAIBA is a professional body that works within the CFO sector, and we recently joined the CFO Alliance, which is a worldwide group focusing on CFOs and ensuring that the voice of the CFO is heard. There are major trends within our profession. The three of them that we identified are climate change and reporting, automation and digitization, and international tax. And these trends are so strong that the international community has decided that we need CFOs within these groups making a contribution, whether it's to the United Nations or the European Union. There I can now share my screen, and then just give me 1 second. I'll share my desktop with you. Oh, there we go. I just need confirmation that the audience can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen. I'd request you to please go full screen and start your presentation.
Oh, all right. So one of these trends we identified was digitization. Now, SAIBA is also an affiliate of the AICPA, which is the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, which was the merging of the AICPA and CIMA. And we work very closely with them. And they recently did a research and a case study of Microsoft, where they found that, and that research was done with a large audience of CFOs, as you can see, over 5,500 finance professionals. And the current conversion is that most of the time spent by CFOs are on compliance work instead of being advisory and giving guidance. Many CFOs doesn't currently have the capabilities, either whether it's human resources or technology, to actually deliver the kind of data that is required by businesses for faster decision making. We all live and are aware of the difficult economic circumstances due to COVID and various other economic factors worldwide. So the pressure is now very strong to lower expenses, work more efficiently, and increase revenue. And all of this in the backdrop of more data. So what they've identified, and this is also the model that SAIBA has adopted for our CFOs, and you would all be familiar with the core functionality and skills that requires of CFOs and the finance department, the accounts payable and procurement and transaction recording and statutory work. And most companies are still stuck at this entry level, whereas they need to move into a more flexible accounting model, and even more than that, a finance department that can deliver information for decision making. And that, I hope the summit will address. How do we move from our basic compliance function as finance professional into a function that can actually deliver information for business decision making? So I found this statistics very interesting. You can see how much effort and resources are still allocated to the assembly function of information, whereas the impact must be found at the execution level, but not enough of our time is spent on that process. This lower end of my slide is a nice template for any organization to use, where we all have in our businesses various structures or business processes, whether it's productivity, intelligent on working on the cloud, or personal computing. But these are our business models. And if you are an international company, you would need to account for that within different customer segments. and it even gets more complex if you work internationally in different countries. So the idea of digitization and automation is to ensure that our business processes can meet and obtain enough data in the various areas that our businesses operate to provide meaningful information. And this slide summarizes, I think, what the summit is discussing. What technology do we use to obtain data? But that data must be interpreted in a certain way, whereas the traditional way is of static reports, where we use software to explain to us what happened. We capture our data and our transactions, we prepare our trial balances and present financial statements, but that is a historic view. So we need more intricate information on why certain things happened, then also to be able to predict on what will happen in the future, so that we can identify what should we do. And this, to me, is a perfect illustration of the new role of the CFO, moving into the new future using automation and digitization. So it's moving from a compliance and control function into the new world of giving advice to the board, to the CEO, to the management team in the direction we should be taking. And all of this is driven by the need to work more effectively and efficiently, so that we can retain profits and retain a contribution to society. Again, this illustrates the movement from assembly of information into information that can provide influence and insights, and then information that can make a real impact. The challenges currently is that most of our resources and time and effort is spent at the assembly in the information gathering phase of the financial function, when we need to move this into the execution level. So there's a new allocation of resources required and a new way of thinking. We work in challenges. We work with large data demands. Corporates are continuously rolling out new projects and processes. The business models are changing constantly as we start working with new industries or merging previous competitors. System performance are changing, modernization is required. So it is a challenging future for the CFO going into the new future, but I think one that we can address through a new qualification model for CFOs. And the slide I'm presenting here is the solution that SAIBA provides for the modern CFO moving into this new world of digitization. So we've incorporated the new super trends affecting our profession into a competency framework, highlighting the traditional steward role of the CFO and the controller role. But what now is needed is a catalyst and a strategist that can advise the board. So that requires proper undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications and MBAs, 8 to 10 years of work experience in a senior finance role. And as we do move on to in this digitization age, ethics and integrity will remain important, as well as professionalism. All of this should be assessed because CFOs work internationally. And how do we know that the CFOs working in our industries have the proper competencies to achieve the outcome that our businesses desire? So SAIBA, in addressing the new digital age, developed a designation for CFOs, which we call the Certified Financial Officer designation. And it is built on a variety of underlying criteria and requirements. And as an organization, we provide then support through continuous learning specifically, which we call CPD. We are developing with international partners a new license for CFOs, both for climate change and reporting, as well as digitization. So I then close my keynote address with the audience. It is an important time for CFOs. There are a lot of new challenges faced by us, economic outside our organizations, but also inside. So the CFO has become a critical part. CEOs rely on them to guide them in decision making, and the opportunity to make a mistake is reduced significantly because there's less resources and less opportunities. So we need accurate data so that we can make fast decisions that are correct in the long term. And for that, we need qualified and competent CFOs. Thank you very much.